This is Inhabit the Wound. It's the final song on our record and the second part of the two-part Inherit the Earth, Inhabit the Wound at the beginning and end of this album. This song, being the 13th song, it's the combination of all 12 archetypes. It's the combination of all primary, secondary, and tertiary colors, being the final color, black, the combination of all colors, and basically the very middle of the record, so to speak. So you have basically the whole record here collapsing into the end. The reason I use the word collapsing is we find ourselves exiting the ninth room of the panopticon that I walked through, and I find myself in the middle of that guard tower of the panopticon that I discussed in the video for Inherit the Earth. I realize that shadowy figure watching everyone has been me all along. That in all these stories and all these people, the reason I know so much about them is because I was watching them. And the idea that my gazing into people's suffering without coming alongside them or identifying is what kept people captive. And I think that's true for a lot of us, that we see problems, but are like voyeuristic culture of watching without engaging, which I think is a theological problem. This disembodied view of problems and seeing people as the sum of their problems and not as people is creating this issue. And so I realized that I am the heart of the machine. The song starts out with Thomas singing, and it's actually our first song that has more singing than yelling, which I'm really happy about. Thomas is singing, my son, born from the war, we traded shovels for swords. My love, inherit the earth, inhabit the wound. He's taking the role of God, looking at humanity and looking at this essential Tower of Babel that we created. Our attempt to unify and to control, however, our attempts, I believe, as humanity to unify always are modernistic. We classify and we order people as units, but in our ability to create structure, we also sort of cut off the circulation, the natural social circulation that I think we're built for. That idea of this system that we've created to control, but it does more harm than good, kind of comes into front and center. All of a sudden, the doors are blown off. I see each character, all 9 of these people with the 9 main stories of this record, step out. Kind of like the night God slept of seeing the 7 sisters. This time I see the 9 sort of patients come forth, and at the same time, and this is kind of a weird like vision situation that I had, sort of like what inspired Depths 2. They reach inside their chest and they pull out these seeds of all the different colors of all the different various ink blots. They pull out the seeds. They step towards me, and I'm like inside of this guard tower. It's not so much like a room that I imagine as much as this guard tower that I'm in is like this pulsating black heart, kind of dripping with like oil, sort of. They take the seed out of their chest and they shove it inside of me, inside of my gaze. They shove in the seed, kind of like the movie The Fountain. This tree of life like swallows me alive and swallows this whole building. And I just imagine like everything that we did to control the world just in an instant is gone and swallowed up alive and is turned into a tree. That's why the last lyrics are reach inside, heal the wound, and make us whole. And so these people are whole again. They're no longer classified by the extent of their mental illnesses, but they step into the fullness of who they are. Because as you know, this record deals with the Enneagrams. It's the idea that we're all meant to be connected, that this is connection. And we as a culture, I think, have a very disconnected view. We would see all these different people and points as their own islands, but I believe we're meant to be like whole and connected. And so finally these people connect, collapse in the middle, and basically break this sort of curse that had them separated, and destroy the panopticon, destroy this tower that we've created, and return everything to the garden. And it ends with "Make Us Whole," which was kind of the main theme and lyric of our first EP, "Come Wind, Come Weather." And we used to have these cheesy tank tops that make us whole. I still see people wearing them; makes me happy. But it's the idea that I think wholeness is the best description of my belief about God. I think perfect is a Greco-Roman word used to describe this flawlessness that something has reached the pinnacle and it can no longer change, or it will be imperfect. So I think perfection is somewhat limiting. It's a term that I think I hear a lot more, but I think whole, or I guess I've heard shalom, meaning peace and whole, depending on the context. I think us being made shalom again is maybe a word that I find more theologically helpful. At the end, these people reach inside, they find their suffering and the value that came with that, and shove it inside and become whole again, become one again. That's my prayer for people that listen to this record, that they wouldn't feel limited to what they're going through and feel like they have to go through it on their own, but that they would understand that they're made to be at peace and made to be whole. So that is Inhabit the Wound, and that is Everything with Sound. We love you. Thanks.